So hey, you're here with Tony V from the 10-10 movement, all about moving your life towards living at a 10 out of 10 experience. Now, I'm today making a 3-part video series about how to be more productive in your work life, how to increase your productivity, and very specifically, how you can do that when you're working from home. So yeah, how to improve your productivity when working at home. Now, I'm doing it in 3 parts because there are 3 keys to building successful productivity, which are, to be honest, very, very little known. So what you're going to hear, you almost definitely will never have heard before. I think you'll be quite amazed at what these 3 things are. So the first one, believe it or not, is what you eat. It's like what you put past your lips massively affects your productivity. How am I so certain that what you put past your lips affects your productivity? Yeah? Right, here it is for me. I am a massive believer in testing things on myself to work out whether it's going to give me a better experience than what I'm currently doing. So, I always think of it a bit like Star Trek. We've got to do things or go places where we haven't been before. Yeah? So here, when you're thinking about food, it's quite interesting to go, right, well, let me write down what I've actually ate in the last, say, 24 hours. That's really, really cool. And then go, now, if I were to think of my energy, it's my favourite question, when you think of your energy, on a scale of 0 to 10, 0 being I'm absolutely dead dog tired, I feel like I've got no energy, I have to force things. And 10 is like I'm firing on all cylinders like a car that's just been come out and tuned up out the garage and it's flying down the road like Lewis Hamilton, yeah? So, what number would you give yourself for your energy in, say, the last 24 hours? Now, honestly, if you're a 9 or a 10, you probably don't need to watch this, yeah? But, you know, an 8, I go, look, an 8 is a good score. Don't get me wrong, it's a great score. But actually, it's like the gap between 8 and 10, there's things you can do to move up the scale, yeah? More towards a 10. Now, if you're 7 or less, it's sort of said 7 is like massively in okay land. But once you're at a 7 or less, then actually you've got a pretty big gap to make up. So that means that we can massively improve things, but you've got to be open to test something out and see what happens. So I am a massive fan, another 10, of like a 10-day challenge. So what you do is you challenge yourself to eat something, let's call it more fuel efficient than perhaps you have in the last 24 hours. So if you look at the list of things that have gone past your lips in the last 24 hours, you know, we'd have to go, like, is that something that's fueling me? Is that something that's giving me energy? Or is it so complex that when the body's got it inside it, it actually takes more energy to eat, you know, turn that so-called food into power that you can use? Is it like that, where it's like, yeah, I've eaten it, it's filled my tummy up, but actually, it's not energizing me, yeah? So we want to know whether the food that you're eating is giving you energy, or actually it's taking more energy from you to sort of turn it into energy than it can actually give you. So you sort of go into a minus, yeah? Now, the 10-day test is quite simple, yeah? Firstly, we're looking at our list, and at the bottom, we've got a score of our energy for, say, the last 24 hours. And look, you know, you could do it for a week, eating what you've been eating, and score yourself every day. If you're really serious about this, it is like phenomenal. I promise you, it's phenomenal, yeah? So, I'll tell you what I did. You don't have to do what I did, of course. All you have to do is take the principle of the 10-day test. Now, the first thing I realised, now, what I used to eat for breakfast in the morning, for example, so I'd get out of bed and I'd go to work, probably with nothing. I would eat nothing at home, yeah? And then I'd get to work and there was a cafe opposite me. So I'd be in the queue with all the other people eating food that was taking my energy, but to be honest, we're just in a habit of eating that food. It's sort of what the cafe sells. You know, you look at the list and you go, yeah, I like that. And of course, a lot of what we eat is based on taste, flavour, stuff like that. You know, do I like it or don't I like it, you know? So, you know, you're picking off a menu, and if you look at that menu, you go, yeah, is anything on that menu going to give me energy, or is what's on this menu actually going to drain me of energy, yeah? It's filling my tummy up, but it's not powering me up, yeah? So I learned that what I used to do is go to the cafe, and my two favourite things was a sausage sandwich with a bit of ketchup, you know, or a bacon roll. I used to love a bacon roll, bit of, you know, now your mouth's watering, isn't it? I know. And I'd always have a coffee, yeah, always had coffee. So, and in the coffee I've got milk and I've got like 3 sugars. So it's very sweet, very sugary, yeah? Going back to my workplace, and that was it. Like, that's how I kick-started my day. Now, I can tell you clearly that that food does not it fills your tummy, but it doesn't give you energy. It's not going to make you productive. That's what this is all about, yeah? So I decided to do this 10-day test. And the simple part of it was that you weren't allowed to eat anything that sort of come from an animal. Now, it's not a whole vegan thing or any of that sort of stuff. You don't have to go into some sort of crazy diet. What you're doing is testing whether you can increase your energy, and more importantly, when you do, if you manage it, does it improve your productivity? So, so I went, instead of going to the cafe, I actually went to good old Sainsbury's here in the UK, and I had to wander around and I started reading the labels, and I started to realise very quickly, actually, because I'd not been aware of this, that almost all of the food in the supermarket, almost all of it, is actually not really going to give you a punch of energy. Very little. You can literally fill your trolley 1,000 times over, go home, eat it all, and at best your energy will stay like this. At worst, when you eat it, it's going to go down. Not a lot in there is going to make you go whoosh, right, I'm ready to rock. So I'm thinking, right, I know, look, your mother told you to eat greens, yeah? I was like, I do not like broccoli, I don't like cauliflower, I don't like a vegetable man, you know. So going in somewhere, to be honest, the healthiest food that was available was the vegetables and the fruit, yeah? So anyway, I'm in Marks and Spencer's, and in the end, I walked out with a bag of nuts and some fruit, some ready prepared fruit. Instead of having coffee, I drank a pint of water. Never done that in my life. Now, what happened to my energy was very interesting, yeah? On the very first day, not a lot of different. I didn't notice. Now, I did change what I had for lunch, and I did the same. So I did the same for lunch and the same for you know, I'm a 3 meal a day man, you know, most people are. So at that time, I tried to look at every meal I had and go, yeah, I need food that are going to boost my energy, so I boost my productivity. Now, after about day 3, I'm going to give you a warning, my energy went like this, and I sort of felt a bit nauseous, a bit headachy, you know, not really great. Now, at that point, I could very have easily given up, but I'm on a 10-day challenge, and I was warned that about day 3 or 4, what happens is all the toxins that are built up in your system from the bacon butties and the, you know, sausage sandwiches and the coffee, they're all like stored in your body, yeah? And a lot of it, like, because you haven't used it, the body's finding it hard to assimilate it, it stores, yeah? And if you suddenly start to eat really healthy, it starts to come out into your system and get sort of flushed away. So there's a name for this, it's called a detox. So actually, like day 3, I'm starting to go, but I was sort of warned about it. So look, be warned, day 3, day 4, maybe, you know, going to be less productive, but don't give up. It's a 10-day challenge, yeah? Because what happens around day 5, you get this push. You start to go, wow, okay, something's happening here. I don't know what's happening, but something's happening. And what it means is your body's becoming much more fuel efficient. Now, obviously, look, I'm not a dietary person or a dietary expert. All I'm telling you is I experimented on myself, and that's what I'm encouraging you to do, yeah? In the end, I did my 10 days and my diet consisted of basically 6 things I tried in the end. And I literally only really ate those things. The number one thing I learned that's probably the most healthy food on the planet, some people might argue with this, but that's okay, is avocados. And actually, I liked avocados. So I started eating avocados every day, you know. And I ate muesli, actually. I realised there's a range of muesli. And some of it that's sort of prepared by some of the bigger manufacturers. You have to read the instructions here. That's full of not good stuff, as well as the muesli bit. They're chucking other stuff in. You want to avoid that one, yeah? Go to the health food shop and buy the raw muesli, yeah? Now I'm thinking I've got to put some sort of liquid on that. So I'd heard that, so I thought, you know what, I'm going to try soya milk. So I've also tried almond milk and all sorts of milks. Actually, out of all of them, I think almond milk's the best. I also was told brown rice is good, so started to eat a bit of brown rice. And the other thing I started to really like, which was very weird for me because I'd hated it as a kid, is broccoli, yeah? So like steamed broccoli. So I'd have like rice, bit of steamed broccoli and an avocado. You know, the way you measure success here is 2 things really. One is how long you sleep. Yeah? If you eat food that's easily assimilated by your body and turned into powerful energy, the net result of that is you will sleep less hours. So for me, this is where my extra productivity came from. And after 10 days, I felt so good that I went to the next step, which is to do it for 30 days. So I literally just ate these 6 things for 30 days. And after 30 days, what I noticed happened, now I was I'd be sleeping like 8 hours, maybe 9 sometimes, you know, you're having a bit of a lay-in. Sometimes I was 7, but if I had less sleep, I'd wake up and I'm like already a bit like this. Now what started to happen is that I woke up very early and I'm like, I'm done. You know when you wake up and you're not tired anymore and you go, yeah, I'm like ready to go. So I just got up. I got up and got started, yeah? And actually what I found is that I got 2 extra hours a day in terms of life, you know, just life. And what I did in that time is I actually sat down and I wrote a vision for my life, which I'm a massive fan of doing, a vision and a mission, and I worked out my values, what did I value in life, all that sort of stuff. And I did that in the time when I would have been asleep. I even started to write down everything that I was doing as the test, and it actually turned out I wrote a book. You know, I called it "It's All Energy: From an Ordinary to an Extraordinary Life." Yeah. Now I've never published the book. I did have it professionally edited, to be honest. If you do want a copy, give me a shout, and I'll give me your email and I'll send it to you. So anyway, I'm going to sort of leave it there because I want to leave you to write your list. So get your pen and paper now, don't muck about. Get your pen and paper now and then score yourself for your energy. If you want to do that for a few more days, just so you've got like, yeah, okay, so every day I eat this stuff and every day my energy is about this. And then go, right, I'm going to find a different way of eating and then measure my energy score over the next 10 days. Now, remember, you're going to have that little dip in the middle. Most people have a bit of a dip. I've done this with lots of people. So be prepared for a bit of a dip. It doesn't necessarily going to happen to you, but let's see if your score goes up and let's see what happens to your sleep. Do you get extra time? Do you find that, like, for me, 2 extra hours a day is 14 hours in a week. That effectively is an 8-day week. How to have an 8-day week when there's only 7 days in it? Sleep 2 hours less a day. So you've got to be more productive if you're using those hours wisely, shall we say. So I'm going to leave it there. If you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, because we make 2 videos every week. They go up on a Tuesday and a Friday. And if you want to watch video 2, I think we're going to make sure it pops up here so you can watch the second one, which is all about our thinking and how our thinking can become more productive. Down the bottom, if you've not actually completed the 10-10 life test yet, then hit the bottom video and it will tell you all about it and how you do it and all that sort of stuff. So you get a sort of, a really good overview of where you are in your life right now. So that's it from me, Tony B, 10-10 Movement. I'll see you on video number 2. Bye for now.